ACT Mathematics Test Number 1, Answer Key. Take a second, pause the recording because this is going to go fairly quickly, and read through the directions. The only one that I point out is this one right here. These are also important. You have a minute per question. That's 60 seconds per question, so keep that in mind. You will find that almost all the illustrative figures are drawn to scale. There are exceptions. You can generally look at them and say, yeah, that's to scale, especially congruent figures, things like that. But on occasion, they won't be quite to scale. Hopefully, I'll show you some examples of both. So as I just said, I'm going to go through these fairly quickly. So if you need to pause or rewind, I recommend it. This is an absolute value problem. So you can do it any way you want. I like to sort it out. What's inside my absolute values? So that's 4 minus 4, because the absolute value of anything is positive, is 0. So we're looking at D. Consultant charges $45 for each hour she works, plus a flat $30 consulting fee. How many hours for 210? So that's 45 times the hours, plus 30 equals 210, minus 30. 45 times the hour equals 180. Divide both sides by 45. H equals 4 hours. Whenever doing problems like these, it's not a bad idea to check. 4 times 45 plus 30 equals 210, so you know you got it right. Early on, I would keep things moving. These problems aren't too difficult. Vehicle A goes 14 miles per gallon and vehicle B 36 miles. How many more gallons does A need than B for a 1,008-mile trip? Well, we need to figure out how many gallons it uses. So we want to take 1,008 miles and divide by 14 miles per gallon. When we do that, we'll end up with gallons on top. So that gives us 72 gallons. And if we do the same thing for the other one, we get 28 gallons. Now, cannot overemphasize, I even write this down on my classroom wall. Read the full question. How many more gallons of gasoline does A need than B? So we have to subtract. We get 44 gallons. Quite a few other ways to do that problem. I like that one best, but you might not. Number 4 is simple combining like terms. So let's look for t squared negative 82 squared. And I like to cross them out after I get them done. Negative 81 t squared. Negative 59t plus 60t is plus t. And then just plus 54. And that is J. And it looks like I have two of the same answer. Nope, I don't. That's negative 82t squared. So J. Number 5, figure below is composed of square, BCDE. Wait, let me slow down. If it's a square, I've got all the same sides. I'm not going to write this one in because I don't really care. And equilateral triangle. Well, actually, I am going to write that in. If that's 6, and this is 6, and this is 6. What's the perimeter? Well, I don't need this one. I only need the all the way around the outside. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 6, 30. The expression 4z plus 3 times z minus 2 quantity is equivalent to, this is a classic FOIL problem, 4z squared minus 8z plus 3z minus 6, 4z squared minus 5z minus 6. Looks like J. Moving right along. 40% of a given number is 8. 0.4 times x equals 8 divided by 0.4, 4. x equals 20. What's 15% of that number? 0.15 times 20 equals 3. And they put a little extra decimal in there, 3.0, just to mess with you. The consecutive 6 integers below add up to 447. That's a nice little problem. We're going to add all these up. I'll get 6x. The numbers look complicated. Well, -2 and +2 cancel. -1 and +1 cancel. +3 is 447. Quick solve. X equals 74. And if you really want, you can go back and double check to make sure that that makes sense. In the standard XY coordinate plane, point M with coordinates 5, 4 is the midpoint of AB. I need to graph this, and I'm just going to graph the upper right quadrant. Point M is the midpoint of AB, so 5, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's point M, and its coordinates are 5, 4. B is at 7, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. So here's B, 7, 3. 1 over 2. 1 over 2 and up 1. I'm going to go over 2 more. 2, 3. And up 1, 2, 6. So A should be at 3, 6. Looks like I made a mistake somehow in there. Went up 1. So I just made some simple math. And does M look like the midpoint between A and B? Yeah, it does. It's also a midpoint formula for this, but I don't like memorizing formulas. If I can avoid it, I will. Rectangle ABCD is vertices 4, 5, 0, 2, 6, -6. What's the coordinates of D? This is the same problem I just did. Let's see now. These go by 2, so it's a little tricky. Looks like it's up 3. So the vertical is +3 because that's the y. And looks like it's over 4. So I have to do the same thing here. I have to go up 3 and over 4. So it looks like about here. Let's see if that looks like a rectangle. Looks like it. This point is 6, -6. Yes, it is. +4 will get me 10. +3 will get me 0. No, it won't. 6, -6 will get me -3. So it looks like 10, -3. I cannot overemphasize how much of a big believer I am in graphing. It really is the best way to solve these problems. So now we got what looks like a matrixy problem, but it's not. Dyson owns 2 sportswear stores, X and Y, and has 3 brands of t-shirts. Take a second and read the question if you want, but what they're saying is that in the 2 stores they have 220 t-shirts of type A, and those cost 5 each. 250, those cost 10 each. 250, those cost 15 each. So we just get the calculator out and do some math. First one's 1100. Second one's 2500. Third one is 3750. Add it all together, I get 7350. Number 12, given the triangle below with the exterior angles, what's the sum of all the exterior angles? I know this one, it's actually 360. Simple enough. But some people don't believe me. So this one's 123. This one's 108. His inside angle is 51. His outside angle is 129. Add them up, and you better get 360. But I'll leave that to you. So now we got the classic read the table and make sense of it. Here's a poll of 200 registered voters. And I don't trust this thing. 8 and 4 is 12, and 8, yeah, that's 200 total. So I know they're going to be asking me questions how to pull chunks out. What percentage voted for Whitney? Well, 30 out of 200. Put in your calculator and you should get 15%. Poll's indicative of how 10,000 registered voters of Springdale actually vote. How many should Lay get? Well, she or he, I'm not sure what gender that is. 80 out of 200 equals X out of 10,000. Simple cross multiply. Get 4,000. And now I have to do a little back and forth. If the information is a pie chart, how many degrees would Gomez get? Gomez got 40 out of 200 votes. How many degrees would he get out of a whole chart? Well, a whole circle is 360, so just cross multiply again. X equals 40 times 360 over 200. Should get 72 degrees. They do love their proportion problems. You can use them in a lot of places. Square below, D is the midpoint of CE. What's the ratio of ADE to ADB? I have no idea. What's a square? So let's guess that. Each side is 10. And this said was the midpoint, right? So let's do some math. Ratio of ADE. Well, that's 1/2 base times height. Either one can be the base. All divided by 1/2 ADB base times height. Cancel, 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 cancel. 1/2. Lots of ways to do that problem. That's just one of them. You can do it any way you want. Which of the following is the slope of a line parallel to this? Well, the slope is 2/3 and parallel is the same. Just equals 2/3. Janelle cuts a board 30 feet long into 2 pieces. 2x. The ratio of the lengths of 2 pieces is 2 to 3. What's the length to the nearest foot of the shorter piece? Well, 2x plus 3x equals 30. So 2 times some number and 3 times some number. I get 5x equals 30. X equals 6. So the first piece is 12 and the second piece is 18. And let's take a second and make sure that makes sense. 12 divided by 18 is indeed 2 over 3. And 12 plus 18 does equal 30. So pretty easy. Read the full question. They want the shorter piece. 12. The smallest integer greater than root 58. Beats me. I do know 7 squared is 49. And 8 squared is 64. So the smallest integer greater than that would have to be 8. And that's a tricky little question if you haven't seen it before. Make sure you understand how it works, how the phraseology works. That's it for now. I'll pick up part 2 at question number 20.